Now, because we touched on it there, is people in certain situations, I mean, we mentioned earlier about the sedentary job, sure, you've got your problems with your calorie intake. Pregnancy is another time when diet needs to be as careful as it can be. Like I said, you often have this problem, certainly at the beginning, is that you've got the mixture of the sickness and or the liver, and it's basically because the estrogen in the system shoots through the ceiling, almost as soon as you're pregnant. I mean, it goes up something like 400%, which is why people feel so ill in the early part of pregnancy. But you do have this often of this wanting to eat, needing, knowing you've got to eat.
Yeah, and then not being actually able to.
I mean, a lot of the stuff to do with pregnancy really these days is to do with making sure in a pre-pregnant state that your vitamins and minerals are okay. Yeah. Particularly folic acid and some of the other mini Bs, mini vitamin Bs, because they know that lack of that does lead to deformities in the fetus. So it's getting the person together before they even become pregnant.
Yeah.
Because basically, once the baby's there, it's parasitic. I mean, I worked for quite a long time with the National Childbirth Trust, and basically, when people are frightened of miscarriage, I mean, one of the consultants in the local hospital said, I say, if people are frightened of miscarriage, I say to them, Portsdown Hill, because we live near Portsmouth, quite steep. They say, run up there and run back down again. And he said, if you're going to lose the baby, you'd lose it that way. But he said, if you get up there, then you're fine. Because if the baby's okay, nothing will shift it. And it is, but it will eat up everything that the mother has available. And so,
I remember that thing.
Yeah, you don't eat for two, which is what they used to say, because you just then get fat. But you may have to watch it really is a time to be sensible with your diet.
Of stuff.
Yeah, and
at that time I could eat cheese. When I was pregnant, I could eat cheese.
Yeah.
And obviously I was just walloping back calcium like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah. But it's good. There are supplements you can buy for people who are pregnant if they're not sure about their diet. But it's good diet, is fine. Because then you get the fats within the diet. I remember having strawberries when I was pregnant with Bex. She hates strawberries now. And with Robin, I had a thing about bananas.
My mum's was pickled beetroot when she was pregnant with me.
But that's not sometimes to do with so much lack, as much as just the curious changes that happen within the body. It doesn't necessarily indicate a lack of nutrient. Because you have them eating coal and all sorts of people. But it is something. So the dietary requirements change. The dietary requirements also change as you get older. I know you're familiar with this. I mean, one thing you don't need when you're past your best before date, we don't usually need so much protein. And in fact, it's amazing how much protein you don't need as an adult. But when you get older, and this is the sad thing about the social care situation with everyone having ready meals, and I mean even what used to be Meals on Wheels, whatever it's called now. Appetito, still frozen meals and nuked in the microwave. Older folks still need good food. They don't need so much. So you're only got to look at the portions of food. And when we eat with Si's dad at his place, where he's staying now, where he lives now. I mean, sometimes you're thinking that's my hors d'oeuvre. Where's my main meal? Because it's children's portions. But then you see, if they're sitting around doing nothing, and they're not particularly ill, so there's no particular other drains on the body, then their actual calorific intake is actually much lower. So that does mean that the calories they do take in, the food they are taking in, really should be nutritious.
Top notch.
And top notch and not super nuked by the care assistant that's just arrived. And it's hard to deal with people. I mean, do you have that with your parents in that sort of situation? They're starting to eat less?
I think a little bit.
Yeah.
But they like the heat plates.
Oh yes, so that's what I like carving.
Yeah.
What age are they?
Sorry?
What age are they?
84 now.
Oh.
Yeah. But I do think the heat plate's gone down a little bit, you know. But for them, it's a cultural thing. Sort of like the plate is heaped, therefore it is good.
Yes.
But yeah, I think I have noticed that they are eating a bit less.
Yeah, but obviously still eating good food.
They're good food. Well, that's the nice thing about, you know, I can take them places and we can go to places to get the food that they want and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we're not sort of like...
they're not on the pre-prepared...
that's one of the nice things about our local places, that you can go and get reasonably good carveries.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing you think. I think they are spreading across the country, but we actually got an incredible amount down here.
Yeah.
There's people who visit us and we say there's so many places to go and eat.
Restaurants everywhere, and they'd be heaving.
And they also have a social function as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We're all really lucky down here for food, aren't we?
Oh yeah, we get organic, real food quite easily.
Hands-on, fresh, local stuff.
Notice my father is not eating anywhere near him how he used to. He's 88 now.
Yeah, I think that certainly a sea change we noticed with Si's dad when he was 85, 86. I'm interested to see how your folks get on as they go over that.
My mum can still eat from like a wolf.
I think it's like my mum's still very active in the garden.
Yeah, so she uses a lot. Because I mean that's good exercise. I mean gardening is good exercise. I mean, when the government bang on about people exercising, they actually don't mean going off in a run.
And
don't mean going. They mean that sort of exercise.
And it's exercise she loves doing.
Which makes a difference. And that's really the other thing is, you know, if you are going to bring exercise in, then you've got to be
punishing yourself.
Not punishing, but we'll get on to that later. Okay, now another sort of, now we talk about age, we talk about pregnant ladies, which you'll catch, old folks, ordinary adults, inverted commas, you know, i.e. us, and of course children's requirements. I mean, obviously, children's requirements, again, it's almost really like sort of back to the old folks sort of requirements, really. It's like really good food in very small amounts. Yeah. But they do need stuff that's got plenty of vitamins and minerals and other things in. And so one of the problems that you do get if the diet is really poor when kiddies are small is it does affect the learning capacity, it does affect the ability to attention span, you're more likely to get ADHD in situations where children have had poor nutrition, particularly, and these days rickets, believe it or not,
I was reading that.
is coming back, and it's even more so if the mother had poor nutrition when she was carrying the child, you're more likely to get things like ADHD, more likely to get autistic problems.
This article drew a link back to pregnancy and different times of years. If you're pregnant, if the first part of your pregnancy happens in the winter, the fetus has much less vitamin D.
That's right, So it's all that sort of stuff to take into account. And of course, the kids play indoors more now, so things like rickets is going to become, which is lack of vitamin D, is going to become more apparent. And so it can be, I mean, the classical thing about kids and greens, I found with my grandchildren, it wasn't so much kids and greens when it came to vegetables, it was how slippery the vegetable was. You couldn't get the texture. It wasn't so much the colour, it was the texture. You know, so it's not always the colour with kids.
Yeah, because I was going to say about that, because I've got friends who've got young kids, and lots of them are hell of a picky on what they eat. And especially toddler, you know, when they're growing so fast and they need to get in really good food, and they can't get good food into them because they just want to eat certain things.
Yeah, because they eat enough to keep a spider alive, as I would say, you know. But the thing is, you can be, I mean, if you look at the super nanny programs, you know, when they're at a point that they start to answer you back, you can start actually saying, well, if you don't eat it now, you have that for tea. You know, eventually they will eat it. But it's probably better to do some homework and actually find ways of
my daughter
getting the food, enough nutrition in.
My daughter used to, she would not eat a cooked carrot. Give it to her raw, she'd munch it.
Well, that's fine.
And then she went through a phase of she'd eat raw cabbage. So I said, fine, have it raw then. My husband used to go, that's ridiculous, she should be eating with us. I said, she is eating with us, she's choosing to have it raw. Shut up, she's eating it. He's awful.
But it is. It can be very emotionally stressful for a parent who's got a kid like that. I mean, my Robs, up until the time she was 6, was spaghetti hoops and tomato sauce, cheese and roast beef. Although she would eat broccoli soup, so we had broccoli soup a lot. And it's interesting, she was the one who used to go into, was saying as we went down to the kitchen just now, into McDonald's when she was 17, saying what wonderful food it was. I said how disgusting it was, and I said, you wait till you've got your kids. And now she rallies at my other daughter for going to McDonald's once every holiday and taking her boys there. I said, I told you. You know.
Mother to use a food processor with a fine grater.
Yeah.
And what food you can't get in because they can see it, you shove it through the food processor and you make like bolognese sauces, etc.
And put extra.
And putting it in there. That's how I used to put everything through. On one particular daughter that was very fussy. Yeah. And she caught me doing it and she said, "Oh, is that why it tastes so nice?" I said, "Yes." "Oh, all right then." And then she you know, and I'd put things like seeds in it, all kinds of things. Can't see it.
I mean, because once they get to a certain age, they can help in the kitchen. They can cook.
Yeah,
that's we're in there from the tiny tots.
That's
little chairs in the kitchen.
That's the thing to do,
involved, isn't it, as well? And you know, and also I think it's the eating as a family thing.
Yes.
The kids eat the same as everyone else at the same time, you know, and everyone's eating the same thing.
And of course nowadays that's almost impossible.
Because
my kids used to be in a high chair next to us and
that's right,
eating off our plate, you give them a bit, put it on a high chair, all that sort of stuff.
And that's why it's nice if people have meals out, that at least places are a lot more kiddie friendly now.
Yeah.
You know, because at least you get that, even if it's not all the time.